Well, hello, and welcome to Aftershock Online. Today, we've got a special show. I'm very excited. I've got Eric O'Neill, the founder of SmartKitchen, a serial entrepreneur. He actually has got a bunch of fun things that he has done. I've gotten to know him over the past couple of years. But welcome, Eric.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Very happy to be here.
Yeah, it's. I'm excited to let people know about SmartKitchen because you and I met a couple years ago in a golf league. And last year, you dethroned me as a champion of that golf league.
We won't talk about that, though.
I already mentioned it. I already brought it up.
Okay.
Guy's got a great swing. But you told me about SmartKitchen then, and I want you to explain to our viewers what SmartKitchen is, why you came up with that concept.
Sure. Okay, SmartKitchen is a online cooking program where you learn how to cook like a chef in the comfort of your own home.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant for anyone that wants to learn how to cook. It's meant for anyone that wants to possibly use SmartKitchen as a dietary reference for losing weight, or it could be diabetes, or it could just be, listen, I'm out here spending $100 a day on dinner of a family of 4. I can't afford it anymore. Let's learn how to cook because of all the money-saving techniques and leftovers and repurposing your food. So I bundled all of that into one with all those ideas that's going on within our society. And I thought SmartKitchen would be the perfect answer for that to help alleviate some of those issues.
That's fantastic. So if it's someone that has basically no skills, you can go in, and I think there's like different courses and tracks that you can go on, right?
Yeah. So there's 3 different levels, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And then within those levels, you learn anything from knife skills, soup, stock, sauces, hot foods, cold foods, garde manger, pastries. Basically anything you learn in traditional culinary school is at your fingertips. The comfort of your own home, there's no tests, no pressure. It's just about learning and understanding and basically living a better life.
That's fantastic. So where did you come up with this idea?
Ooh, okay, another good question. Let's see. I've been working on SmartKitchen for a little over 10 years now. I was raised by a chef, my father.
Okay.
And so food has always been a part of me. Now, I think I started this around I got the idea for it around 2005, where I just started noticing these epidemic levels, of obesity, then of all the other issues of people, of these fast food restaurants and them resorting to this as their way of nutrients and food. I mean, it's just popping up everywhere. Fast food this, fast food that, you name it. Quick. It's never the answer. So with me, I was like, okay, this is very frustrating. People are starting to look at food like this. So I stepped in. I thought it was time to build something that could give them a tool to enable them to step out of that kind of comfort zone and take charge and put life into their own hands and not depending upon others to fulfill their needs.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because you're right. Fast food is convenient, right? It's convenient and it's bad for you typically. There might be a couple of one-offs that are good for you, but for the most part, it's convenient, and convenience usually is packed full of calories that aren't good for you, a ton of carbs. So giving people the tools, the ability to learn how to not only cook for themselves, but really the nutrition. That's what I've enjoyed. So I've been, on your site, and you had given me a login for it, and I mean, I spent some time just looking at how you have recipes built out, how you teach skills, but then how everything's linked to the nutrients or the ingredients within the recipe. So if you don't know what an ingredient is or what specifically it can do for you, I love how you can just click on it, and you've built out pages pretty much for all of those.
Yes.
So tell me a couple of success stories. I mean, tell me some people that have been utilizing SmartKitchen and how they've benefited.
Oh, wow. I mean, so I've been doing this for 10 years. I have a lot of success stories. And for me, my biggest success story is when I get someone writing to me telling them how it influenced their life. So there was one person that comes to mind. He's a gentleman out of Tucson, and he's a lawyer. And he wrote saying, before SmartKitchen, I was lost. I was 300 pounds. I didn't know how to lose weight, doctors, programs, diets. It didn't work for me. I don't understand it. He was like, okay, I'll give SmartKitchen a try. Maybe this will work. Maybe if I approach it with understanding culinary in a whole, that will help me manage what I'm eating and understand what I'm eating and what I shouldn't be eating.
Right.
Essentially. So this gentleman, he was a member for SmartKitchen for a little over a year, and then I kind of tried to help as much as I could if he had questions or whatnot. I kind of took it as my own project because I could kind of hear like the sincerity, and he really, really wanted to try, and I love that. I mean, there's nothing better that someone, when they have the passion, when you have the passion for your company and someone else has the passion to be a part of it, you know, by all means, as an entrepreneur, that's very important, I think. So he, you know, as through helping him through the program and giving me my advice, a year later, he dropped 50 pounds.
Wow.
Just from learning how to cook, not from exercising, not from starving himself, just understanding what he's putting in his body and how to prepare it to the point where he likes it and he enjoys eating it, but it's not going to give him 10 more pounds.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I'm sure there's many success stories like that. I want to go back to the beginning of your business, because I started a business about 10 years ago as well, and everybody sees now how things are going. Oh man, it must have been easy. SmartKitchen seems like a business that would have been tough to get off the ground. Tell me about how you were able to build the business and maybe a couple of victories in the beginning that kind of helped you get over the hump.
All right, I'd be happy to. So for me, it started, okay, I'm starting a business. This was 2006, 2007, right before the Great Recession, you know, really hit and was about to hit. Trying to raise money for this big dream was next to impossible. So you have to get a little inventive. And my idea was, at that time, the housing market was booming. That was really the only thing that was making people money, regardless if it was going down a lot, but people were still using the housing market as a great means of income. It's like perfect fit. People live in a house or an apartment or a condo, and they all have kitchens. What wouldn't be better to have a tool in there where they can just press on something and then it would give them the answer as far as feeling more confident in the kitchen.
Right.
Okay, so this was before iPads, this was before Kindles with this pressing and in your home idea. So I developed a POS system that, you know, are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So at that time, that was really the only accessible kind of futuristic thing that the market could get, or I could get from the market. So I took that, basically framed the idea of a POS system is it can withstand water, it can stand heat, you know, just abuse basically of what the abuse that it would face in a kitchen, you know. And then I took the outer exterior parts of it and I would match the decor of different kitchens.
Wow.
So I was trying to work with home custom builders to build this new piece and I guess hardware, you know, as a part of everyone's life. It was pretty well received. I got initially into a couple housing projects in their model homes as far as like an upgrade and get a smart kitchen inside your home. And things were slowing down, kind of truthfully didn't really hit the market right with that. So I was like, okay, let's pivot. Always got to pivot when you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
Things hardly ever work out the way you want them to work out.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, what's next? If it's not working here in Scottsdale, it doesn't mean it's not working, you know, in the rest of the country. So then I signed up, and mind you, I'm 21. I signed up for the ICSC, which is the International Commercial and Residential Convention in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So what I did is I put together 50 high gloss folders. I put together my business plan. I put together a PowerPoint presentation explaining what the vision is, what the product is, and what it can do for you or them per se. So here I am. I got a little red wagon back here. I'm in Vegas, going through the conventions. You know, looking. It's like someone coming to basically New York City for the first time and looking at all the skyscrapers. Whoa, this is big. This is intimidating. This is real.
Yeah, and the convention floors typically have thousands of vendors and so many people. It's got to be intimidating.
absolutely intimidating. And you definitely got the sense, like, who's this kid coming up to me? Like, why would I ever think to have time for someone like this? Which is fine. I totally get it. So I had my folders. I went booth to booth, introduced myself. I had my touchscreen system in my little red wagon, per se. And then, in my folders, so then I'd pull out my folder. I would ask if there's anyone that I could speak with or some time or something I've developed where I think would be great for their project. What do you think happened? Do you think everyone jumped off their seats and said, yes, please come on in?
Of course, right? That's what happens.
Yes.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, no. So the word no was yes. You know what I mean to me? I almost expected to hear no at that point. But for me, I knew as look or baseball, for instance, if you keep on swinging the bat, you're going to hit something. So I kept on swinging the bat the next day. Went back on the floor, went booth to booth, and then finally I got an interview, a sit down with some pretty influential people in Vegas. So for me, this is like, okay, you're doing it, right? You're doing it.
Yep.
And then they ate me alive. I mean, negotiating, like, I didn't know I'm a 21-year-old kid here by myself, like, and I rode in on my little red wagon. Yeah. And now I'm negotiating, multi-million-dollar deals. Didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, well, let's try to pivot again. I know that I can't handle myself in a scenario of this kind of pressure because I've never experienced. I don't know how to treat it. I don't know how to do it. So then I was like, okay, I need some help. What would be a little bit easier for me to kind of ease myself where I can talk to someone about it, but I'm not going to feel like they're coming at me with swords and knives,
Yeah.
So then I was like, kitchen companies. Perfect. This makes perfect sense. They can have it in their kitchen companies, and it's the foot traffic, it's the market, it's right there.
Right.
So I was like, I got to shoot big for this one. This has to be the good deal. So then I contacted Valsicini, which was out in Beverly Hills at the time. It was the #1 kitchen remodeling company in the world in the sense of its richness, like really expensive stuff.
Yeah.
So Rebecca Sams was her name at the time, the owner, and she absolutely loved the idea, the concept. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. We made it. I'm the #1 kitchen remodeling company in the world. Can you believe it? How many sales do you think I had?
Probably not a whole lot. Because, you're introducing something new to the market, right? You're penetrating. So, what did they do to help promote it?
So we actually had some events, but to be honest with you, not a whole lot means zero.
Oh.
Okay. So that was another challenge. So then I was like, okay, I'll stick with it a little bit. And then we had actually an event in Beverly Hills in their showroom. So they had some big players. They had some big companies, water companies like Aquafina, and I don't remember at the time. Anyways, I'm like, okay, this is going to bring in some more business. We're ready for this. Let's do this. Oh, okay. How many sales do you think I had?
Goose egg?
Goose egg. Oh. Yeah, kind of like that. So what would you do? Is it time to give up? Is it time to put up the cleats, retire?
Of course not. I'm crazy though. So
yeah,
no. You press on, you pivot, you figure something else out.
That's right. That's what you got to do as entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
So what I did was, all right, I can't obtain. There's only one of me, but there's so much to do. How can I get this out without having to be everywhere? The internet. It only made perfect sense.
Right.
So then that was the next pivot, which was to the internet, and that's where we are today.
Wow. So you started with that concept is basically a hardware that you had, developed a POS system, and then you went ahead and pivoted that into what SmartKitchen is today. It's amazing. And it's obviously been very successful, and it continues to grow. And I think that is a lesson for business owners. Not everything is going to work the way you see it, but you have to set goals. You have to have a vision, and you go after that vision. But if you realize really quickly that that's not happening, pivot. What can I change? What is the market telling me? Because the market's honest. It's always honest, and sometimes you don't want to hear the honesty, but
Yeah.
always honest.
Yeah, that's very true. But
So
what does that honesty do for you, though?
well, it gives you a clear opportunity to look at whether you can take that honesty and that feedback, and then you try to, okay, how can I utilize this information and make something better, right?
Totally. Couldn't agree more.
So, before we started the interview, you and I were talking, and you told me that I asked you about books. I said, and you're like, I don't read a whole lot. But I think there's a success there from why you don't read books, and tell me a little bit about your dyslexia. How have you made that a win in your life? Sure.
I'd be happy to tell you about it, but I can't really talk about it because I'm dyslexic, so it's hard to speak. I'm just kidding. So life for me, it wasn't the easiest as far as school.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't fortunate enough to have the extra, I guess, education or guidance
Mm-hmm.
to let me know, okay, Eric, this is what you have, and these are the tools that you need to move forward to be successful, in everyday life. So I grew up in a very frustrating way where you look at things and people are telling you, this is how it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
right here. This is how you do it. Everyone else is doing it. How come you're not doing it? I don't see it that way. I don't get it. Why
Mm-hmm.
is it this way? I don't understand it. Well, this is the way it is. Are you lazy? Do you not want to do it? Or is there pushback? No, I really don't. At that point, people are just like, okay, he's just like putting up a wall and he just doesn't want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that came with math, a lot of reading, because when you read and you're dyslexic, words don't come out the same.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you speak to, you think of something, and then when you say it, it's not what you thought of.
Mm-hmm.
So difficult, always going back and forth with that. And at that point, it's like, I can't read something if I don't understand it. What's the point? To satisfy, you spend your whole life trying to satisfy everyone else because you think that you're being lazy or you're not trying to live up to their expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to develop my own way of learning what's right for me.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it wasn't necessarily taking a book from end to end.
Mm-hmm.
It was reading what I needed to read just for that specific instance. Not to hear an he say, she say, but more or less for specific information. I can't afford, being the person or the way that I grew up, taking in too many, how do you say, too much advice, opinions, advice.
Sure.
Because you've done that your entire life,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're reading it again. It's like you get nowhere. It's kind of like, for me, it's like naysayers.
Mm-hmm.
People in a room just keep on talking. Nothing gets done. It's just too much.
Right.
So for me, I would just shut down, like, because I can't do anything. You feel immobile.
Mm-hmm. And so from that, tell me about how you learn then. Because it was interesting how you were telling me that you basically go out and you do things. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So for me, I guess I'm more about the learning spectrum of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Experience isn't written in a book, and experience always changes. A book never changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I always found that intriguing. If my experience is going to teach me something and it's always going to be different, I approach that as something that would be more beneficial to me.
Mm-hmm. So you, a good example of that is going to Las Vegas with your wagon. You just did it. You took action. You didn't really know how it was all going to turn out, but that was an experience. I remember we were playing golf maybe a couple months ago, and you told me that recently one of your new hobbies is gyms and rocks.
Yeah.
How on earth did you start doing that? And was that kind of the same thing? Like, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to learn.
That's a good question. Well, for me, I stopped drinking. That was one thing.
Okay.
When you don't drink, you don't have much to do. I mean, as far as like going out or hanging out with people, being social. I try to be social, but you're in a situation where it's involving something that you don't do, and you made a mental decision not to do. So you can't put yourself in that position to be successful at it. That's just with anything. So for me, as a type of person that I am, I like to learn and I like to create things. Now, this whole prospecting, I'm not creating something. It's something that's already been created. But what I found interesting is all these different other methods that people come up with to extract, there's different types of minerals from these ores. And then I was just looking at it and, just found it interesting. And finally I'm like, this really, to me, wasn't difficult. I found it to be actually pretty easy just because, in a sense, I looked at the mineral situation or prospecting, and anyone that does that, I'm not sure who's listening, can look at different minerals in the landscapes or the foundations. You can see actually what's there. There's indications of what's there. It just takes the time and the effort to develop your own system and how to reach the gold. So that's really what I found intriguing, and you can relate that to business, is figuring out your process to reach the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. Well, we were talking back on SmartKitchen, because I thought this is really cool. You've got some really neat things in process right now. Tell me about the unique marketing that you're doing right now and how you're positioning yourself and working with some of these bigger companies to get more users.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. Right now, we actually have some pretty exciting stuff going on this side of the spectrum with the larger corporations coming to us looking for partners that can help sell their products. So what helps, and now these partners are all food-based companies. They're looking for a tool now. They realize that you can't just put out a recipe, and assume everyone's going to get it.
Right.
They're looking to us as the person or the professionals to give them what they need as far as how should we restructure the way that we speak to our customers, to not only show them that we do have a great product, but how to make our great product even better. So for me, that's exciting because I like to create. So it gives me opportunities when they come to me where I can develop recipes for them. I can give them different ideas of how to look at and approach what they've been doing and kind of turn their tides with the market, but not getting away to what holds dear to the true essence of that company.
Right.
So it's very exciting, kind of juggling back and forth, figuring out, one, did I do it right for you? Like, are you happy with the things I'm providing as far as, in this case, let's use Fisher Nuts. Fisher Nuts is a company that just came to me and they want me to develop 5 recipes for them, cross-marketing, where using their nuts, but using their different types of nuts in a more culinary, approachable way. It's not just a bag of peanuts, pecans, walnuts, whatever it is. It could be something so much more.
That's great. So you develop these recipes, and then SmartKitchen, I believe their users have an opportunity to use the site, correct?
Yes, exactly. So
you went to these companies with a value that really wasn't out there, and you said, hey, let me give you this value that you can pass on to your customers so that they're going to be more loyal to you. That's brilliant.
Thank you, Josh. Well, to be honest with you, I actually didn't reach out to any of these companies. They've all been reaching out to us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I've just been solely concentrating on education. I feel like for me, people have reasons why they're here on this earth, and for me, it's to educate in culinary, and that's just what brings me complete joy. So marketing and all that other stuff, it's fun, it's exciting, it pays the bills.
Yeah.
But really, it's about staying true to yourself and what makes you happy.
And for you, it's creating an education that can help someone with no skills or a lot of skills become a chef, or at least more in tune to the food that they're eating, and that's awesome. That's a tremendous passion.
Thank you.
Well, before we wrap up, are there any podcasts or anything like that you like as an entrepreneur, or is there any advice that you would give to an entrepreneur starting out in a new business?
Okay. Well, as far as podcasts go, I mean, of course, I listen to you. So that's my favorite show, number one. And then number two, excuse me. I don't listen or read other, and it's not because I don't appreciate what other people have to say. It's just for me, I don't take it in, and I don't get things done. It doesn't help me.
Sure.
Doing it helps me. So anyways, I don't listen and I don't read, but I'm not illiterate.
Right. No, you take action. You do things.
Yes.
So for a new entrepreneur, I mean, what would you recommend for them?
The best advice I could ever give you is take yourself away from the naysayers. Take yourself away from what people have to say, because you need yourself to be free, and you need your mind to be free for what you envision for yourself. Now, once you have that vision for yourself, then take on those other pieces that can help put it together. But always make sure that you're free of any distractions. You're free of what other people are telling you is right or wrong, regardless, right or wrong.
Right.
You need to listen to yourself and to be true to yourself, because without that, you're never, ever going to be happy, and it's never, ever going to turn out the way you want it to turn out.
Wow, that's great advice. All right, well, before we go, do you have any asks of our audience?
Meaning?
What's that? Meaning, SmartKitchen.com. They can go on there and sign up for a membership. But do you have any other asks for our audience at all?
Just ask that, you give yourself a chance. Whenever you're ready to learn how to cook and you need something to give you that extra jump, please come visit us, SmartKitchen.com.
Fantastic, man. Well, thank you so much for being on today. This is a lot of fun and very informative for me, too. So, thanks. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to this week of Aftershock Online. We look forward to seeing you soon.